So before we get into using the LX480 on lots of different instruments on different presets, let's just quickly go over how to use the LX480 a little bit and how to kind of navigate through it, and in particular the main parameters. This will help it make it easier for you to understand what's going on a little bit later. So let's start with this quick menu here. So anyone that's familiar with a Real 480 will kind of get on with this very quickly. And again, we can flick between the different parameters of a particular preset by using all of these different menus here. And each of these different menus will have a series of sliders with a parameter attached to it. So if we go to time here, we can click on any of the slider and it will tell you what it is. So this is reverb time mid, this is bass multiply, bass crossover, frequency, high multiply, and high frequency crossover. Okay, and we're not going to spend a whole lot of time delving on what any of these individual parameters do. Mainly this is just to keep the video short and succinct, and I really want to get into showing you some specific things that I like to do to get the best sounds out of this this reverb. So if any of you need to know what these things do in more depth, section 5 of the Relab manual for the LX480 is really good, and it actually explains things in a lot of depth. So for the rest of these videos, we're going to be mainly looking at the quick menu here, and the quick menu are a series of options that are found within the different other menus, but could be considered more important and things that you might use more on an everyday occurrence. So here we've got your reverb time mid frequency, so this is basically could be considered your overall reverb time. Then we've got the shape function, which the shape and the next one, the spread, kind of both change the kind of envelope of the attack phase of the reverb. So if we look at what this is doing, you can see as we increase the shape, it kind of crescendos up to the sound over a little bit longer a period of time, and it's a lot sharper if the shape is down, and we get a similar effect here with the spread. Okay, so these two parameters kind of work in tandem with each other to kind of get the envelope of the sound to be the way that you want it to be. And then we've got the size. Now, the size is interesting because it's kind of the longest dimension of the room, okay? So if we take the size down, and we can see that the overall reverb time has gone down massively, but we'll also see that this changes the different parameters that we can use and the numbering of these parameters based on what the size is. So if we have a much bigger size, you'll see that the time here will go up massively. Like once we've got the biggest size, we can have up to 63.3 seconds. If we go for the lowest size, the longest reverb time that you can get is 6.53. So if you think of, the size parameter is your general size of the space, and these are fine tunes to control the way that the sound changes over time, and the envelope of it with these other two parameters. Okay. And HIF is high frequency filter, which is basically just a low pass filter or a high cut filter. Okay, and so this means that it will start to kind of roll off at 2.79 kilohertz. Okay, and then finally PDL stands for pre-delay. So pre-delay is a parameter that basically buffers the amount of time it takes for the reverb to kick in. So what this means is, set at 24 milliseconds here, it would take 24 milliseconds before the reverb kicks in whatsoever. And whilst you have some sort of pre-delay based on the amount of time that it takes to hit the nearest wall and comes back, you can use a pre-delay in much more creative ways to kind of help stop the reverb from blending too much with the direct sound when you're using it for more excitement or creative purposes. So we're going to see that a little bit later, particularly when we're running some of the presets that have a really long reverb tail and are a bit brighter and tend to kind of make sounds feel a bit more pushed back in the stereo image. But for now, it's just good enough to know that this quick menu contains most of the main parameters that you're going to use on most of the presets. Okay, and if we have a look and we change this parameter here, reverb time mid, and we hit the button below, it kind of goes between the state of how you had it before and how you'd recently moved it. So it's kind of like an undo redo type of toggle. Okay, and so how I would usually use the LX480 is I would decide on what sort of algorithm I wanted first. So if we had a look here, we've got a vocal hall going on, and I would go into load, and I would pick a hall that I like, and it's usually like the top preset. And so I'm now in the hall algorithms, and I'll turn it up so that the reverb is higher than I would use it in a natural scenario. And I'm just going to play a little bit of this, and then flick through all of the different presets. And I'm going to do that by using the previous next buttons, and you'll see up here that the preset changes. And I'm just going to look to find something that I like and is the best starting point that I can have. So let me just factory default that so that all these sliders go back to their default settings. And I'm going to play it and then hit previous and next until I settle on something that's a good starting point.
You know you lead me on, and I'm ready when you are. Oh, I want to fire up and run, but I'm ready when you are. You know you lead me on, and I'm ready when you are. Oh, I want to fire up and run, but I'm ready when you are.
Okay, so just cycling through those, I really liked the auto park, which was actually the first preset. And now there are certain things that I would want to change in this, and we're going to do that in the next video.